you said in the knowledge economy, you rely on your brain and you go out and explore and experiment and find stuff. That's a great
Hmm.
attribute. It's a great quality that we should probably all be welcoming into our teams.
So I have a question. Are you suggesting that when you're thinking about forming small teams that you do have to kind of look for people that have some of the gaps in your team?
Yeah,
I mean, is that what you're
yeah,
kind of saying? Like you got to find some diversity in the people you're bringing on, and some people might
100%.
be serving a role that doesn't necessarily align exactly with like the building of the thing, but maybe, I mean, I'd love for you to expound more on it because I don't want to put words
Yeah,
in your mouth, but I like the idea of because that also gets back to taking chances and trust, right? Finding someone that might not fit exactly into the hole that you thought they could, but
yeah,
you recognize that they can bring some value. So I'd love to hear more about that too.
yeah. I find it a fascinating space. I've worked with a few great thought leaders and practitioners that go into um, rural, regional communities, economies where there isn't a
Mm.
lot of this platform of education and working for large platforms like Anderson or Google. And yet they constantly go in and find that when you get a group of people together in a community, there's always capability, there's always passion, there's always creativity. And so bringing the right combination of people together onto that small team, that diversity of thought and approach is critical. Um, there's one gentleman, Dr. Ciroli, who I've been working with for a number of years, and he simplifies it in a beautiful way. He's like, to make a team work, you need three things. You need a product person, someone who really looks at, well, what is it that we're trying to build and how do we build it and how does it help people? You need a marketing person, which is very much what I'm hearing from you, someone who's just going to go out and explore the ways that you could do it and who you could partner with and who might want to use it differently. And then you need a finance person. And he very simply says, if you can bring those three people and roles together, you've got the good footings and foundations of a team that's going to find success. Because if you just have a product person, you might build the best widget, going back to your earlier analogy, but you don't know where the widget fits in people's operating machines or otherwise. So you need the marketing person to go and explore and experiment and find out how the widget works. And we've seen so many inventions where, well, let's go back to the music industry. You know, when they first started creating devices for sound, they were designing them so that they could help people with learning and things like that. They didn't think of them as playing music, and it wasn't for a number of years until I think the designer of that device finally acknowledged, well, I've built something that can play music. He always thought he was designing something to help people learn a new language, you know. So we see
Hmm.
that time and time again through history too. So it's an
Hmm.
interesting
Hmm.
chemistry.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the other person I would add to the team would be a good lawyer.
Yeah, particularly
You
here in the
forgot the
US.
legal.
Yeah,
You
we do.
forgot the legal. I mean, you're like, okay, you got this certified public accountant, the marketing, the product designer, but you got to have a lawyer.
Yeah, yeah, you do. You're right. And I think maybe I oversimplified, and maybe that sits under the finance person. Who knows? But you know, product people need patents too, and in certain technologies.